Well,
really...
what?
Skirt. Go.
Welcome to the Ancient Way. I'm James.
I'm Marlia.
One day we'll get really good at these intros.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I think it's appropriate that
It
we
is
just
what
keep
it
it
is.
weird.
Yeah, keep it weird. It is what it is.
One of the things I really wanted to talk about, I've been sitting with a bunch of different topics, right? But one of the key things I keep going back to is, what does it mean to grow up into him? What does it mean to actually grow up into maturity?
Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Yeah.
To live this life of faith? Like, for example, it's just funny because I'm just seeing it with a lot of the people that I've been talking to and observing.
Yeah.
Like today, there's a sweet, sweet guy who asked to pray for me. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And the sadness in his voice.
Oh, in the prayer?
Yeah. Of just like, man, God, like I repent for being a sinner and like all this stuff. And he was like, I won't be bound to fear. I won't be bound to my sin. And I was just like...
And he's praying for you?
Well, he's praying.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I love his heart. I love how much he loves Jesus. It feels like so much striving.
Yeah.
So much. And it's like, man, you don't have to work that hard to talk to your dad.
Mm-mm. That's hilarious you say that.
Yeah.
And we just had a conversation. This guy that I met with earlier, we had that conversation about talking to God. That it came up. We were talking about something entirely different than that came up, and I talked to him like he's my best friend. I talked to him about all this stuff, and then he said, "Yeah, I've really started to talk to him more that way, as if like my kids, the way I would want them to talk to me." He's like, "That's how I talk to him now."
Yeah.
And I'm like, how weird would it be? Could you imagine your children tiptoeing around up to you and saying, Father, like bowing down and like, Father, forgive me. I messed up today. I did this, like talking to you like that?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
How foreign would that be? I mean, if Bexley was just like tiptoed around you and
Mother, it wouldn't feel real.
Mother, could you forgive me? And just keep starting off with that.
Yeah.
Like I messed up, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what are you doing?
Mm.
Anyway, that's what we talked about earlier. It's funny you said that.
That is funny. Yeah, man.
It's foreign.
Yeah.
That's not a dad. I mean, that's just not a dad, a real good father language talking there. It's not.
No. I think that's like the big disconnect is like, I've been going into a lot of these concepts and I feel like I've been extracting so much more from them. But like, what does it mean for Jesus to be the Prince of Peace?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
If he's the Father, that means he's the Father of peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the ruler of it.
That's right.
It's like, okay, well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? What does that mean for you?
For me?
Yeah. What does that look like for you?
I mean, it means he's approachable. It means he's the source of peace.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tiptoe around him like that. But it's like, it's a well you can drink from.
Yeah.
And partake of any point in time. And then going back, similarly, if he's the Prince of Peace, the Father of Peace, well, I can be the Son of Peace.
Yeah.
I can partake of that and be that.
100.
And people, when with that language of like, Father, I'm a sinner, I'm a dirty sinner, forgive me, all that stuff, there's also, I think, like a subconscious, I'm a human being, he's this massive deity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, we're a deity embodied. It's like we're the same essence as he is. Totally. He's legitimately our Father.
Yes.
He's not some higher other thing like an alien.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're the same at the core of who we are. We're the same essence. Like he's more of our Father than our Father is our Father.
Yeah.
Here, you know?
Yeah. As he is, so are you.
Yes, exactly. So that's something you can toss around and think about. That's something I had a long time ago, is you view him as this, you know, we always say the God of distance, or the outward It's like, oh, we're the same. We're made of the same fabric.
Mm-hmm.
We really are.
Meaning everything that you see in him, you can see in yourself.
Yeah. It's tied. It's woven into you.
Mm-hmm.
It's in there.
Yeah. He's not just the Prince of Peace. He is the peace.
Yeah.
He is the foundation of peace because he is the foundation.
Yep.
You know, everything hinges on him.
Mm-hmm.
And meaning like your foundation, the core of your person is actually peace.
Yeah.
You don't have to go find it. It is.
Yeah.
You have it already within you.
That's one of the biggest things. You've got it.
You have peace and you have joy. To grow up into him is to find that it's already within you.
Yep.
It's already in this very present moment. It's accessing the reality of God being Emmanuel, God with us, that he's with you, that he's in you. And you don't have to be like, okay, let me go get peace. It's like, no, take a freaking breath.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like you are royalty. You are this precious thing to him. He didn't die like for your sins. He died for you.
Yeah.
It's like we're his kids.
Yeah. He died so that we could actually be seated back at the right hand of him.
Yeah.
So we're seated together.
It wasn't some heartless transaction of like, there, took care of it for you.
Mm-mm.
Now you got to still jump through hoops.
Well, even just the whole idea of like the difference between contract and covenant.
Yep.
Like a contract says, hey, I did this. I paid for it. So
do your part.
This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
It's
the
covenant. I've been writing this out. Like, what is covenant?
Mm-hmm.
What is the essence of what am I accepting?
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, that's even communion. Because I've been talking to somebody about communion and it's the covenant. And it's like, okay, a covenant is that he already did everything.
Mm-hmm.
He fulfilled both sides of the covenant.
Yeah.
My job is to agree with it. So then I was like, okay, well, what's the covenant?
Yeah.
Let's go into it.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What would you say? What's the covenant that we got?
I think it's the unity, like you said, the communion. It's the becoming one with him. Mm-hmm. It's that growing into him. It's the mystic reality of Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
The oneness.
Yeah.
And him, I get him showing us what that is. Him showing us, revealing himself first off, and then revealing what it looks like.
Yeah.
Showing us an invitation to, hey, this is it. It's open to you.
Yeah.
You just got to step in. It's for you. It's here.
Yeah.
It's that oneness.
Yeah, totally. I think so too. I think it's the unity. Yeah. It's the absolute, like, that you have been brought into the family tree.
Yep.
And that there is no separation between not just me and God, but either realms.
Yeah.
Either dimension.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like all of the people that went before us, David, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Mary, John, like all of these guys, women, they're surrounding us.
Yeah.
They're cheering for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the covenant restored all of it. The covenant was like, hey, you will live in the land of abundance. You will live in the land of unity. Period.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we are. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It's to bring everything back into that,
to
the reality of that. I've really been on that kick. One of the things that the Lord told me so strongly, he said, anything I speak, I will fulfill. If I have spoke it, I will establish it.
That's cool.
And I just kept hearing this thing of like, hey, the whole covenant, like is Jeremiah 31, that his law is written upon your mind.
Yeah.
Which is love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Love is the entire law.
Mm-hmm.
And written upon your heart, for you are God's people. You are my people. And I went into this whole thing when I was like, what does it mean to be a person of God?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to be like Yahweh's ambassador?
Yeah.
There felt like so much honor of like, we're the most magical beings that actually walk this earth.
Yeah.
There's so much unique specialness to you, to me, to every other, literally every human.
Yep.
That we're all his people.
Yeah.
But that means that we get to embody and embrace and showcase him.
Yeah. And the way to do that is to see him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the other thing that I thought was beautiful that he showed me is a part of this covenant, this beautiful covenant that he paid for, was that it's not only just a disconnection from your faults, your sins, quote unquote. There's actually no place in his mind for that.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, like it says, like he forgot them.
Yeah.
Your sins as far as the east is from the west. No, he has actually no thought of that.
Yeah.
He will think nothing of your faults.
Yeah.
Those don't ever enter his mind.
Yeah.
That's why he encourages us, like, my thoughts are higher than your thoughts.
Yeah.
My ways are higher than your ways.
Right.
And for us to align to that is because he doesn't think in terms of faults.
Yep.
He doesn't think in terms of how can people be better?
Yeah.
I'm ready for you to be better.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, like.
There's a lot that comes with that. There's so much that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Too. I would say that's one of the bigger things that I guess disown. You swap stuff out, you know, certain ideas, but like shame.
Mm-hmm.
Shame is like aligning with something that's way lower than he is. It's like the sin stuff that he's not even connected to.
Yeah.
Identifying with that. But if you can scrap that and square away, like what you just said, like his thoughts are higher and they're for you and he doesn't see that stuff. The consciousness of sin has been like done away with.
Yeah.
That's just one of the biggest game changers. It's just like the cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like somebody told me this last week, something about like even the kind of the conflicts that you have, like the airplane story that I had where it was like, do I go? Am I pulled to it? Am I supposed to go back there and pray for this person? Or none of those parts are bad.
Mm-mm.
Like no part of your process is a bad part.
Totally.
And that's a relief. It's like, okay. It's like when I cussed out the person on the street, like it's not necessarily it's not like a bad part of you.
No.
So the elimination of shame
it's
kind of where grace is found. It's like, oh, he doesn't even see that stuff.
Yeah.
Why am I sidetracked by it? I can just change my mind and next time it comes up, I'll just catch it.
Yeah.
In the moment. I don't even have to think about it.
No.
It's just such a relief.
Well, it takes so much of the pressure of like, I've got to fix myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got angry? Go fix yourself.
Yeah.
Go find out why are you so angry?
What's the root to that anger? Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes we get off on a rabbit trail of just trying to fix us instead of seeing what is like, oh, okay, I did just cuss out that person. Whoa, that didn't feel like my father.
Yeah.
So that's not actually me.
Yeah. Yeah. The end.
The end, dude. The end.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a really trippy experience I went into?
Yeah. Of course.
Well, I won't go into all of it because it's pretty freaking long.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I was just outside. I was meditating, and Zach had taken Bexley, and I just got like 3 hours to myself outside with it cloudy, and it was the most magical day of my life. There's something so beautiful about a cloudy afternoon for me.
Yeah.
I was sitting around the fire, and anyways, I go into this experience. I'm not even trying. I just like closed my eyes and was just connecting, and then I'm just off. I'm literally, it's as if the whole world fell away.
Yeah.
And I'm going down this journey, and I go down this stone path, and there were certain beings that had come in, and they were taking me down this road. And anyways, what was beautiful was one of the things that they told me. They said, so I go beyond this gate, and in this gate, I see that this specific gate had, these were thoughts that I had carried.
Yeah.
And about a certain sphere of my life. And they had said, when you enter this gate, you enter a different dimension. And I realized that every thought that you have will take you into a different dimension. And they told me that that thought can influence every other dimension.
Yeah.
So I started to see, they were like, if you have thoughts of fear, you are pulling in a smaller dimension. You are living in a smaller plane.
Yeah.
But if you take in peace will expand the dimensions, and it will infiltrate all these other dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like realities.
Yeah.
It's like a different, even though it was like, oh yeah, you live in a different reality. It's like, no, the trajectory of something changes.
Yeah.
So like an experience in your life will actually grow when you live or dwell
Your
within
belief
this.
changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the dimension itself is changing.
Wow.
Like it's not just, oh, you're changing your thoughts. It's like, no, you're changing dimensions.
The fabric of it. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was seeing, it was like, no, you're bringing in different dimensions. You have more access. When I was living and building, I was building a house in this dimension.
Yeah.
And I like the spirit wisdom had come into me, and she was teaching me how to build this house, and very strange. I tried to tell you, but in it, there were so many things that were being relayed, and in it, it was being reconstructed. And she was saying, like, you have the ability to bring in other people into this dimension. You can bring other people into this house. And for me, I realized it's always the war in which dimension, reality, whatever word you want to put there, are we living in?
Yeah.
For me, what dimension opened up for was, to me, it felt different than the word reality. Because it's just like, well, reality is what you're choosing to look at in front of you. To me, a dimension in the quantum realm, it has such a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was seeing it as like when you were living in this dimension, and this dimension was relational peace, right? Just so people know what a small ticket or whatever.
Yeah.
I was in this house of relationships, and inside there was a foundation of peace laid, and then there was a cornerstone, but it was this magical blue stone that had been fitted in the left-hand corner. And but she was instructing me of how to rebuild this house. Yeah. And but she said, you have the power to pull people into this reality because it creates such a vortex. Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's like, we don't understand things, how they look sometimes on that side of it, unless you're shown like that.
Yeah.
That makes it more like, hey, you're the thought by thought basis. Your being affects so much.
Well, your thoughts are building something.
Yeah. There was a guy a couple weeks ago, old man, we were talking about that kind of stuff, and he said something. He was talking about heaven, and he said, yeah, the pearly gates, the gold streets, and he's like, where do we get the materials for that stuff? Like, how does that, I don't understand that stuff. But then the next step, he's talking about how he likes to bless people and help people. And I'm like, I bet that's where the materials come from.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that builds those houses and builds those streets, paves the roads, that kind of thing.
Totally.
It's like what you're saying. It's like you built a house out of peace.
Yep.
And the cornerstone. Just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She told me that it's the revelation of Jesus and how Jesus actually fits the whole house together. But you have to understand him from every side. It's the whole, you have to understand him from the totality of things. Yeah. And each portion that he plays. But I think it is the thoughts that we think. Yeah. Create the actions that we have, creates those behaviors, but that's literally what you're building upon. Yeah, it has that ripple effect on both sides everywhere. It's really significant. Yeah, I think that's why he said, take every thought captive. Yeah, yeah. That exalts itself above the knowledge of Christ is because we're building something. Right. It's cool. It's almost like, too, using water as a reference. It's like if you're in a lake Mm-hmm.
The surface of it is like the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then beneath it is where all the activity happens and stuff. But it's all the same, you know? But I think the more you take your thoughts captive and function in that and introduce peace to people and really wield that mastery that we talked about, the sound mind, it'll start to show up on the surface too. It's already in depth and it's rooted, it's down there.
Oh, for sure.
And then it starts to pop off
Yeah.
upstairs, you know, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. It's funny you had that too, because we were talking about it with that old man a couple weeks ago.
That is funny. Yeah, I have been, this is so strange. I feel like I've been seeing into different dimensions and seeing, I've been seeing into different dimensions and just seeing different people in different spaces, and even how people are stuck in like thought loops.
Yep.
It's because they're stuck in one dimension.
Yep.
They can't, it's because they're stuck in a thought pattern.
Yep.
They can't get out of that dimension.
Yep.
So then if we're going to go into reality, that's all the only thing that they can see. That's the only reality that they can live by, is because they're stuck in that dimension.
Yeah. That's probably one of the trickiest parts of everything too, is because it seems like it's all on that individual.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know that you're in a loop.
Yeah.
And even when you're invited out of it, it's like you don't know that you can escape it.
Because I think it's because you haven't known the Lord in that thought pattern.
Yeah.
You haven't let wisdom build the house in that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's like you have to know the Lord even in that thought pattern, even in that dimension.
Yeah.
Know him.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting out of a loop or getting out of a thought pattern. It's knowing him in that.
Yeah, that's good.
Knowing him in that dimension that will then create the ripple effect. But
that
otherwise,
opens up other dimensions.
Yeah,
that's
but
good.
you literally live on a lower frequency.
Yeah.
I mean, like legitimate people could be measured.
Yeah.
When you're in fear, anxiety, shame, guilt, like you're stuck in your beta brainwave, which is, your fight or flight.
Self-pity too.
Yeah, self-pity is super low.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't actually vibrate, which means you can't actually emit light.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's not.
Yeah.
Not to the degree that you actually
what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Expand your light. But I think that's where it's like, we talk about choose your reality or whatever, but I think it's about a dimension that you live in.
Yeah.
I think that's why some people feel like they're living in hell.
Yeah.
Because they are.
They are. Yeah.
On the earth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's a relatable one, I bet.
But I've always thought, this is so strange. I have thought about people when they pass, they go to the dimension that they lived from here.
Yeah. Or they're just still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever the house of cards, whatever thought life you've built, which is really the house you built.
I've had that thought too, yeah.
You've just translated into that.
Yep.
So you stay in that domain.
Yeah. Well, it's like heaven on earth. I mean, if we're seated in heavenly places here, when we cross over, it's like we're there.
Yeah.
Probably the same thing. It's like wherever you are here, you may be there. But then that brings the question like, well, can you grow?
Yeah.
If you're dead here and you end up there, can you grow out of it? Is that still open? Why not? Yeah.
His covenant wasn't on earth's side.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
His covenant was on both sides.
Yeah. Yep.
The covenant wasn't just for people on the earth. It was the restoration of all things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's hopeful. But yeah, it is interesting being stuck on those. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
They're definitely loops. Sneaky loops.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this, that scripture, because after I had that experience, I was like, I understood it. There was a lot more into it, and I don't want to fully dive into it, but I felt like I was really shown so many things. But the biggest thing is the gate that you go through. And a gate being, lift up your head, O you gates.
Yeah.
That the King of Glory will come in.
Yeah.
The gate in which you enter is a thought.
Yeah.
It is your mind,
Wow.
but when you lift up your head, O you gate, that the
Yeah.
King of glory would come in, it is with thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
You enter his courts with praise.
Yeah.
So thanksgiving is, you can actually enter a thanksgiving gate.
Yeah.
And you will enter into the court.
Yeah.
The courts of heaven.
Yeah.
Where there is, you'll hear his judgment about you.
Yeah.
Which his verdict is always not guilty.
Yeah.
You're not guilty for anything that you do.
Right.
But if you're trapped in those other dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
you won't be able to enter into his court to be able to hear his verdict over you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's strange.
Yeah, we can do strange here.
But.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see this thing so clearly in my mind.
Yeah.
It's literally like I'm watching it right behind you.
Right,
I know
yeah.
But.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like growing up into him, is like, what gate do you enter?
Yeah.
What gate do you enter in every day?
Yeah.
Do you enter in and continue on the gate of like self-pity and depression and anxiety, or do you lift up your head?
Yeah.
And hear his thoughts about you?
Yeah, and you've got to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to decide on one of those things.
Yeah.
You've got to know that you have a decision.
Yeah.
Whoever, regardless of who it is,
Mm-hmm.
like it's, at least try it, even if it feels like peeing in the pool.
Well, I think that's the other thing. I've heard this several times too, where I've heard people say, well, I tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I tried that and it didn't work. And this is my question. I've been asking this question. I haven't had a legit answer from anybody yet. If you tried it and it didn't work, what were you trying? Were you trying a formula?
Yeah.
Or did you set your heart to know him?
That's the key in it.
If you're thinking, if you tried something and it didn't work, that sounds like you tried a math problem.
Yeah.
That tried like
what you said there, if you're going to try with your heart.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it. And I mean, that's kind of mean, but it's like, if your heart's in it, he will answer it. He'll ask, seek, knock.
Yeah.
If you do it with your being, your heart, I think that's the key to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some people say, yes, I'll try it. And it's already been premeditated of not going to work out for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
but
so
that's the dimension you just chose to live in.
Yeah, right. From the get-go.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. And I think you have to just want it.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's entering the gate with thanksgiving.
Yeah.
There has to be a heart of thankfulness, a heart, like open your heart and open your mind to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you've never meditated before, or you've never heard his voice, or you've never had a dream that you thought, God, that doesn't make sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or had a dream, like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Never had the scriptures come alive to you.
Yeah.
Ask yourself and ask the Lord, like, okay, well, I'll start with thanksgiving. So what can I be thankful for?
Mm-hmm.
And then I will look to you.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like Thanksgiving really will just blow the cap off something.
Yeah.
But you have to, Thanksgiving isn't a mind thing, it's a heart thing.
Yeah.
It's a heart coherence.
Uh-huh.
And when you can be thankful in your heart,
literally,
some people are like, oh, I feel it in my belly. Okay, whatever, same thing.
Sure.
But that causes the coherence in your mind.
Yeah.
So it's like a straight line of communication.
Lines up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when you do hear a thought, you're like, oh, that didn't sound like mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But I think the key big thing is like to know him in that dimension.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with something, or like you feel like you've been going around the mountain and you feel like you've seen this repeat pattern.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do I know you in this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then yield.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
But that's where I've been.
No, that's good.
There's one other thing I wanted to share.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with anything. Maybe you can find a way to tie it in.
Okay.
One of the things that I realized of why people, and even myself in the past, it's been hard to grow up into the Lord.
Yeah.
I think it's because we don't know his thoughts towards you.
Yeah.
We don't know his thoughts about us.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how we were created to co-labor with God on the earth. We don't know how he's made us to click.
Yeah.
Or like what brings us alive.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know the giftings within us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so one of the things I was thinking is like to grow up into him is to ask him, like, what giftings did you put within me?
Yeah.
That's actually a part of me.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to get my worth out of it. I'm just expressing who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if this fits, but I was writing about this. I heard, I was thinking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right?
Uh-huh.
And how you saw Jesus in the fire, the fourth man in the fire.
Fourth guy.
And for weeks I've been thinking about like, man, I feel really comfortable in the fire.
Yeah.
Like I actually find great comfort when the fire is coming around, when there feels like heat in my life, when there feels like chaos or a little drama. It's like, okay, I'm comfortable here because I'm growing. I'm seeing something.
Yeah.
But I heard the Lord say, when you see the fourth man in the fire, it's when you see that God is actually the fire.
Oh, wow.
You behold him as the all-consuming fire.
Yeah. Wow.
It's when you behold him that's who he is.
Yeah. Wow.
That's when you'll see that he's shown up.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's cool. Yeah.
He's not just showing up in the fire. He is the fire.
Yeah. Wow.
He is the all-consuming fire, and it's his presence around you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to recognize that fire, it's not just, yo, you're comfortable. It's like, yo, I'm surrounded by him.
Yeah.
This fire is his enveloping of me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the other thing that Jesus told me, last thing, I swear. I know, I've been talking a lot.
It's okay.
But he said, I'm always teaching you how to respond. This is what it is to grow up into me. Just as I teach you to teach your kids, this is how we respond as overcomers. When we encounter anxiety, fear, guilt, and shame, it's not about the absence of these feelings, it's how we're responding to these events.
Yep. That's it.
And I realize like everything that he is teaching us is how we respond.
Mm-hmm.
Do we stay in that dimension, or do I know him in the shame?
Yep.
Just like Adam and Eve knew him in the shame.
Yeah.
Right? They connected to him when they felt shame.
Right.
And then you can go into a different dimension.
Yep. It is 1,000% how you respond to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To grow up into him is
Yep.
to really hone your responses.
Yeah.
And because it's never been about...
And to be his response.
Yeah. You are his response.
In that matter, you enact the kingdom here.
Yeah.
In those situations. It's like everything that happens, it's like, okay, I'm going to redeem this situation. I'm going to shed light on this.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. That's the answer.
Because I was thinking about this, and the Lord told me, you don't teach Bexley how not to feel anxious.
Yeah.
Teach her how to overcome anxiety.
Yeah.
Because then you can teach her to overcome anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And I was like, that's what I'm doing.
That's
good. Parenthood.
Yeah.
In its simplest form.
It's good.
You just teach them to overcome.
Yep. It's heroic. And it's not hiding, it's not sheltering anybody from anything. It's teaching you how to wield your authority.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Everybody needs to be taught that.
Yeah. But I think that's what the Lord's teaching us.
Yep. That's good.
I think that's the same thing about the dimensions in the house that I went into is like, when you're stuck in those loops, you don't respond with your authority.
Yeah.
Everything is about, this is another thing he's been telling me, it's all about dominion lane. Like we're on the road of dominion.
Yeah.
That's the pathway of life is dominion.
Yeah.
And he's teaching us the way. This is the way. This is
the way. Yeah.
But to be the overcomer.
Yeah. That's good.
To walk with dominion, to walk with authority.
Yeah, that's good.
To watch it work, you know?
Yeah. That's good.
All right.
I had a, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I talked the whole
No,
time.
you reminded me. You had so many notes. You have your entire notebook over there.
Sorry,
I have
about
a note that I took, a couple weeks ago. And it was just this, I was just like meditating on like miracles and healing and that kind of stuff. And I had this, like, it was like an impression of feeling like I was in the moment somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I was praying for somebody that was, whatever, for whatever reason. But I felt like I was in this moment where usually, you pray for somebody and you just do it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw it in this new way of like the Lord was sitting right behind him and I
Yeah.
was talking directly to him. Like,
Mm.
you're going to pull through. We're going to like, that's why we're here. It was this partnership, but I remember like looking him in the eyes, like,
Yeah.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
And that person was just caught in the crossfire of connection.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was just like, they're in the middle, they're in the trajectory of this. And,
yes.
it hadn't, that opportunity hasn't come up yet, but it was like a new dimension of, I think, like healing.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But it was like I was directly talking to him.
So good.
And it was just a way I hadn't really experienced it before.
Well, it's brilliant.
Yeah. So next time somebody.
Well, it just made me think about like, sorry, I literally went into a thought of like, oh, you're clothing the person.
Yeah.
You're clothing the person with connection.
Yep. Yep.
Like I was literally seeing like a sheet coming over them, and it's like, oh yeah,
they were enveloped in light.
Yeah,
they were right in the middle of it. The crossfire. It's like you're right in the middle of it.
Wow.
So that feels like another one of the training dreams of like this is what it looks like. This is what it is to heal somebody. Like,
yep.
I have lots of training dreams, dead raising people, and like what it feels like. I've had a lot of dreams of experiences, like of experiencing the trauma of a situation, but then responding the way that he would.
Yeah.
And like just feeling it. Some of them have been super traumatic. It's like, oh my God, it felt real.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, what do you do here? What do we do here? We're the good guys.
So good.
What do we do? And it's like, whatever that looks like. But that was one of those.
Wow.
So next time you pray for somebody, I'm going to try. I'm going to probably feel that. And the thing is, he's already made that connection in my person. So it's like, it probably just happened that way.
You know, that reminds me of a dream that I had last night. I could not pull any of it back except for this one portion.
Uh-huh.
There was a blue, beaming, crystallized, beautiful snake.
Okay.
But it was wrapping people like that. And it was like it had gone through. It didn't feel like it was a bad guy.
Yeah.
It felt like Jesus, like a serpent being lifted up on a pole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind
Healing.
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like enveloping. There were 7 people, but he had wrapped them up like that.
Yeah.
Like the way that you were describing how people were like caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
It was like they had been enveloped.
Wow.
Around the snake.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just thought it was weird. I was like, I don't know what to do with that. I just kind of
Healing
like
snake.
Yeah.
Lots of blue crystal and diamond stuff going on too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
But
very cool.
That is neat.
There are lots of things to do out of this episode. Lots of things to practice and do and sit in.
Dive into it.
There are.
Well,
The end.
the beginning and the end are so
Yeah,
weird.
they're weird. If you enjoyed this episode of the Ancient Way podcast, drop us a like, share with your friends, share with your family. And if you would like to support us and what we are doing, and you would like to play a direct role in our growth and things that we do in the future,
We have a donation spot at the bottom of our show notes, so you can click on that, give however much you want.
We appreciate absolutely everything. We appreciate our listeners. And everybody that's already come alongside and encouraged us, and even everybody that's been on our show. So thanks, guys.